The DAISY Consortium is the global authority on accessible publishing and reading. DAISY's team of international experts develops standards, tools and best practices that are embraced by library services, publishers and the leading technology companies. Our member organisations around the world have decades of experience producing accessible publications. Using the enabling technologies developed by DAISY, our members and friends have produced millions of books, journals, newspapers and other documents that can be read by people with disabilities in the way that works for them. Whether someone needs to read through enlarged text, audio or braille, on whatever continent and in whatever language, there are tools and standards developed by DAISY that can make that information accessible to everyone, irrespective of disability. DAISY Consortium members and friends have made education and reading accessible to millions of people with disabilities. Let's hear about just a few examples of the innovations that are happening within the DAISY family. And we start with reporting on the project with Microsoft and our partnership with disabled persons organisations to extend accessible reading in some of the world's most underserved regions. Let's hear from Dipendra Manocha, Director of DAISY's Developing Country Programme.
Over the last year, DAISY Consortium has been supported by Microsoft under its low-cost assistive technology initiative. Through this project, we have created easy-to-install, accessible, multi-converter tool, our DAISY Pipeline app. There are hundreds and thousands of existing accessible books, but to read them, we need special hardware or apps. Most of the people with print disabilities live in low or middle income group countries where ownership of such devices is not common. The purpose of the new Pipeline app is to enable organizations in developing countries to convert the existing books into format which is suitable for devices which are most likely to be available in low and middle income group countries. During the course of the project, we partnered with organizations who are working in the most challenging regions of the world, building our understanding what kind of devices we should cater for. One of the conversions we have developed is to convert DAISY audiobooks into format compatible with solar-powered Mega Voice players. Let us hear from two organizations we have partnered with. First up is Masho from Sen, Ethiopia.
Hello everyone. My name is Masho Kiradamare. I'm an executive director for Sen Ethiopia, special educational leaders in Ethiopia. The blind and visually impaired students in Ethiopia have very limited accessible book formats, and their chances of owning smartphone or DAISY player have further reduced due to the war. Many books from the global library have become available in Ethiopia. However, we are not able to take benefit of this, as persons with print disabilities do not have access to devices required to read these books. DAISY Consortium has developed DAISY Pipeline software to convert DAISY books to format compatible with Mega Voice players. This has an imaginary benefit to our situation, as we now have access to several thousands of books that can be provided to persons with print disabilities even in our country. This will enable the blind and visually impaired persons in low-income countries, including Ethiopia, not only to have access to school textbooks, but also to university reference workers, fiction, and non-fictional workers in accessible format. We are extremely thankful to Microsoft and the DAISY Consortium to provide solution to our challenges. Thank you.
Next, we hear from Ashoka Bandula, who is the chair of the DAISY Lanka Foundation.
Visual impairment is a significant issue in many parts of the world, particularly in least developed countries, where access to adequate healthcare, education, and assistive technologies are limited. The lack of infrastructure and resources exacerbates this issue, making it challenging for visually impaired students to access the education that they need. Education is a fundamental right of every child, and all children should have access to it, regardless of their physical abilities. The high cost of specialized educational equipment often limits the educational opportunities available to visually impaired students. The benefits of this project are immense. The Mega Voice audiobook players and books will allow visually impaired students to access educational resources they may have been unable to access due to cost constraints. It will also help to bridge educational gap between visually impaired students and their peers, as they will have access to the same educational resources. The project will also help to increase the confidence and self-esteem of the visually impaired students. With access to the equipment and resources provided by the DLF, these students will be able to participate fully in classroom activities, helping them to feel more included and valued. Finally, the project will help visually impaired students to develop independent learning skills. The Mega Voice audiobook players will enable them to access educational resources independently, helping them to become more self-reliant and better prepared for life after school.
Thank you to Masho and Ashoka for your participation in the project and to Microsoft for the partnership. Microsoft has just decided to support us for another year, which will enable us to enhance DAISY Pipeline app with new conversions. You can find out more about this at daisy.org/pipeline.
The DAISY Consortium is all about working together on a shared mission. And next we have a great example of that in the Nordic Inclusive Publishing Initiative. Increasingly, DAISY members are actively working in their countries to support the publishing industry on their journey to accessible publishing. It's important but also challenging work, so why not do it together with your friends? Here's Kristen to tell us more.
Hello everyone. My name is Christine Nord and I work at MTM, Swedish Agency for Accessible Media. My job is to coordinate the agency's task in promoting accessibility to the publishing industry. A couple of years ago, together with the 4 other Nordic agencies and specialized library services for persons with print disabilities, Celia in Finland, HBS in Iceland, NLB in Norway, and Nota in Denmark, we formed NIPI, the Nordic Inclusive Publishing Initiative. NIPI was established to enable organizations with similar objectives to work in unity, building on common goals to deliver more than any of us could achieve in isolation. We work to raise awareness throughout the publishing industry, encouraging the shift to inclusive publishing based on universal design of products and services. We work to achieve this through a variety of efforts. We communicate and share information throughout the year, but we also host a conference. Our second Include conference took place a couple of weeks ago in Malmö in the south of Sweden. It was a hybrid event, enabling participants to choose if they wanted to take part of the conference online the first day or on-site in Malmö for 2 days. The main target group for the conference was the Nordic publishing industry and book sector, and the main purpose of the conference was of course to raise awareness of inclusive publishing and the forthcoming European Accessibility Act legislation. Several experts and well-known specialists from the DAISY community contributed their expertise and gave great presentations. Gauthier Chomel from EDR Lab spoke about how to cope with backlist titles. From Fondazione Lia, Gregorio Pellegrino raised the question, accessible fixed layout books, dream or reality? Richard Ohm from DAISY gave a very inspirational speech with the title Onwards and Upwards, and shared details of the widely used DAISY tools that support accessible publishing. Online from the US, Benetech presented on how to make math and STEM accessible. From the EU Commission in Brussels, senior expert Immaculada Placencia Porrero gave an online presentation on the legislation and the requirements of the Act. And she got a lot of questions from the participants of the conference. It is clear that the publishers have a lot of questions and that everything is not yet crystal clear about different assessments on the legislation. There were also speakers from the Nordic publishing industry, sharing their knowledge and expertise, but also their challenges when it comes to producing and distributing accessible digital books. From Finland, Maja Lehtenmäki from Alter Art Books presented on why accessibility is also an editor's business. And from Sweden, Lars Wallin at Colibrio spoke about how to build an inclusive reading system or application. We also had a panel with readers with print disabilities, such as visual impairment, deafblindness, and dyslexia, who demonstrated how they use assistive technology and explained what an inclusive reading experience means to them. As organizers, we were really pleased with the outcome of the conference and all the knowledge and insights that were shared, as well as all the informal discussions that took place during these 2 days. It is clear that it is very fruitful to meet each other face to face from different countries, different kinds of organizations, and with different perspectives to discuss and learn new things from each other. This was also reflected in the feedback from the event, with participants indicating that they had a really good time and got valuable insights on accessible reading and inclusive publishing, making new connections in their professional networks. At NIPI, we are now evaluating how we can develop our collaboration in promoting accessibility to the Nordic publishing industry. The initiative aims to foster an environment in which different actors of the publishing sphere can share information and experiences, learn from each other, and work together in making the digital reading more inclusive. The initiative sees value in the collaboration both within the European Union and more specifically within the Nordic region to make sure the regional differences, such as local languages, rather small markets, and local conditions such as booming subscription-based e-reading and audiobook apps, will be taken into consideration in the upcoming discussions and guidelines. Driving these initiatives are the specialized library services for persons with print disabilities. Through building relationships, guiding and monitoring developments in the publishing industry, our specialist organizations are ideally positioned to benefit from changes in the mainstream sector and continuing to offer our users the best possible service. Through NIPI, the participating organizations have already found success in many areas, broadly raising awareness of the potential of inclusive publishing practices. Together, we will continue to work to support that implementation and widespread adoption. If you would like further information about our work and the conference, you can visit nipi.care. Thank you, everyone.
DAISY organisations are amazing innovators with purpose. The long-playing record, the audiobook, the digital newspaper, the e-book, the list goes on. Well, how about a Braille reading experience, bringing the advantages of transcribed Braille together with the accessibility of DAISY and EPUB? Challenge accepted, thanks to the inspiration and support of our latest full member, American Printing House. Here's William Freeman to explain.
Our work on a new eBraille format under the DAISY Consortium umbrella was inspired by the mission of DAISY member American Printing House for the Blind, also known as APH, to create a groundbreaking electronic Braille text and graphics device to revolutionize tactile learning and accessibility. This triggered the work on developing a new Braille format that would address the issues with existing solutions and work with both new and existing Braille displays. The approaches currently used for distributing materials to be read in Braille each have their advantages. However, none offer a complete solution to the needs of Braille readers, nor can take advantage of the new possibilities of multi-line displays. The DAISY Consortium is facilitating a project to develop a new Braille file format. This initiative has attracted wide engagement, with more than 100 participants in the working group from over 20 countries. The co-chairs for the working group are William Freeman from the USA and Anya Lehman from Germany. We've developed a problem statement, systematically collected requirements, and conducted technical analysis. We are now focused on development of the specification itself. We expect to release the first public working draft in Q1 2024. This will be followed by implementations, which include a validator, production tools, and reading tools. The implementation period is very important because it provides the real-life test of the specification and helps in refining the initial version. We will continue to listen to the many participants and make consensus-based decisions, so we will keep on adjusting the plan and refining it further. To find out more about this initiative, including how to join in, you can visit daisy.org/ebraille.
Groundbreaking work on the DAISY pipeline, collaborations on accessible publishing, new Braille formats. These are just some examples of the DAISY Consortium not settling for the status quo, but searching for new solutions to make information accessible to everyone, irrespective of disability. You'll find many more examples in our annual report. But where else can we find out about the latest technical developments? Meet with colleagues who are working on the same issues. Celebrate successes, problem-solve your challenges, and help shape the direction of future innovations. You should make a note to come and join us in London in November.
Hello, I'm Dave Williams. I work for RNIB in the United Kingdom. We're excited that later this year we'll be hosting the DAISY Consortium board for meetings and associated events in central London at a space provided by our friends at Google. On the 9th of November, we'll be hosting a conference on accessible publishing with representation from the worlds of publishing, technology and DAISY members, bringing decades of experience producing accessible publications. This is a free event and will also be streamed online. On the 10th of November, we'll invite experts from DAISY members and friends to a day of in-person technical discussions about topics of interest for DAISY libraries. The outcome of these meetings will help to shape DAISY projects, technical development and collaboration between members. If you're interested in attending in person or virtually, you can register your interest by visiting daisy.org/London 2023. That's daisy.org/London 2023. We will be sure to keep you up to date, offer you the chance to vote in our poll about topics of interest, and let you know when registration opens in June. Information will also be made available on the DAISY website and newsletter nearer the time. We're looking forward to meeting you in London.
Our showcase of topical DAISY activities featured contributions from India, Ethiopia, Sri Lanka, USA, Sweden and the UK. Your DAISY Consortium in action. We have such an important mission: to make information accessible to everyone, irrespective of disability. Daunting for any one of our individual members, but just look at what we can accomplish together. Whenever one of our members achieves something great for people with print disabilities, You are part of that success because you are a DAISY member and you're part of that story. Book by book, genre by genre, language by language, country by country, DAISY is making the world's information more accessible to people with print disabilities.